Hello, my name is Patricia. I'm a first-generation Beatles fan, and my new little channel is called A Little Beatles Corner. Before we get started today, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed to this channel and who has taken the time to make comments and criticisms. I appreciate everything and everybody, so again, thank you very much. Now, today is part 2 of the Cavern Club, so I'm going to finish the history briefly, and I will then show you the Cavern Club items that I have in my collection. So we're going to have to go back to 1966. I thought we were going to start with 1970, but I'm still not there yet. So after Ray McFall lost the Cavern Club in 1966, two other gentlemen came in and took it over, and they were Alf Gaygun and Joe Davy. And they actually made some improvements to the Cavern Club. They made a new entrance, apparently. They had a souvenir shop, so they were getting savvy about how to make money off the cavern, I guess. And they had like a little coffee bar in there, so they did do a number of things. So they had their grand opening of the new overhauled Cavern Club, hosted by Prime Minister Wilson, on July 23rd, 1966 in Liverpool. So that was a real big deal in Liverpool for the Prime Minister to come there and reopen the Cavern Club. Now, at this time, Bob Wooler, who had been the DJ there, was kind of out of the picture. He was off doing other stuff, I guess, and they got a new DJ, and his name was Billy Butler, so he took over the position that Bob Wooler had. Now, just as a side note, October 25th, 1968, which was about, 2 years and 3 months after the new Cavern Club reopened, Paul and Linda actually visited, and their visit is going to be noted in one of the Cavern Club books that I'm going to show you, which I'll let you see later. So that was pretty interesting. And then 1970, Alf Gaygun retired, and then he sold the Cavern Club to two other fellows, and they were Harry Waterman and Roy Adams. So that didn't last too long, because 1972 or so, British Rail decided that they wanted to have make a project underground with I guess a subway or something, and so they took over the ownership of block 8 to 12 Matthew Street, where the Cavern Club was, and actually I think the building next door where they had Ray McFall had made some a recording studio. So all that was taken over, so they didn't have much choice there. So May 27, 1973, which was about a year later, so the Cavern Club actually closed. And there's reports in newspaper things you can read about the protests that the kids had. And, they barricaded themselves in there, but it didn't last long. I think they were there overnight or something. And it's a pretty interesting story, and I give them a lot of credit for trying, So the Cavern Club did close May 27, 1973. And then they took it across the street to 7 to 15 Matthew Street, and they opened it up over there. They actually moved the original sign over there, and that sign stayed up until 1992, when it was blown down in a storm and totally destroyed. So I guess they never tried to refurbish it, which is really too bad. But I thought that was an interesting story, because I never knew that they actually moved the cavern across the street for a while. Later on, that when the cavern was across the street, they actually renamed it the Revolution Club, and then it went on for a while until that club closed in 1976. So that was pretty interesting. So on June 5th, 1973, which was like a month after the Cavern Club closed, not even a month, bulldozers came and they demolished, the street level buildings in that block. And then the Cavern Club was reduced to having, being full of rubble that was put down there, and it became a car park after that. So apparently the British Railways didn't go through with their project, which is a shame. But it never did happen. So I guess in the early 1980s now, people were starting to figure out that the beetles were a hot commodity as far as tourism goes, you know. So they sent architects down there to try to figure out whether or not they could remove all that rubble and just restore the original Cavern Club, that, you know, to its original form. And but the damage was so bad, apparently, because of the demolition that had been done previously, like the arches were caved in and all kinds of stuff. So it was deemed that that was impossible for them to do. So this is 1984 now, April 26, 1984. They had a new Cavern Club constructed, and they used about 15,000 bricks from the original Cavern Club. And then, you know, they auctioned off those other, I think, 5,000 bricks or so. The one that I showed you last time from the same block of bricks, I guess. And so they built a new cavern there, and it was pretty much where the old one was, but not entirely. And above it, it had a shopping center and some offices and stuff like that. And so that was that in 1984. 1989, the club owners lost their license. And then 1991, Cavern City Tours bought the new Cavern Club building, and two men, Bill Heckel and David Jones, became the new owners, and they reopened this, you know, the second Cavern Club on July 11, 1991. And that's the same Cavern Club, the same owners that are there today. So they've owned it for a long time now. Just two other tidbits about the Cavern Club. Ringo actually visited there September 29th, 1992. He was in town making a video about where he grew up and took his son Zach into different places. It's a pretty interesting video if you can find it. And then Paul McCartney performed there December 14, 1999. And of course, there's a DVD out with Paul performing at the Cavern that you can still buy. So, okay, so now I will show you, in no particular order, some of the Cavern Club stuff that I do have. Sorry, I have to bend down. Okay, so I'm going to show you some books, and these three books are entirely related to the Cavern Club. I might have shown you one in the first one, but I don't remember. So this one is Spencer Lee. And that's the history. And then there is another Spencer Lee. And this one gives you a rundown of every single artist that was there and what date and everything, which is pretty cool. And then the third one I have is called The Cavern Club by Debbie Greenberg. This you can buy right now, I believe still. And she was the daughter of Mr. Gay Gun. And so she tells her whole story, and she there's this photo in here because when Paul McCartney and Linda visited in 1978, she had her picture taken with him there. So that's a really interesting story. If you're into the Cavern Club, I would definitely suggest that one. Now, I have a few old items here. This I have a shadow box. I actually had to take this out because it was too hard to show it. So I have the same green kind of Cavern Club card that I showed you before. You can see over there, there's a little pin. And there's a Cavern Club sticker called Cavern. And then below that, on this side, there's a blue Cavern Club sticker. There's another Cavern Club card that's white. There were also pink ones and blue ones for the juniors, the younger kids, which I don't have any of those cards. And then here is this is a Cavern Club wallet. Let's try to see if I can open it. I don't know. No, I can't really open it without messing it up. Sorry. But it's a fold-over wallet. So that's my shadow box. I have to put it back together now, of course. Okay, so then, so when the Cavern Mecca took over, they put out flyers and they had different things you could do there and everything. So that is an article that they put out at the time. I want to say it was like 1984. I have a signed photo of the boys at the Cavern Club, and that's signed by Sam Leach, who was a promoter, and I think he almost became the Beatles manager, but it didn't happen because Brian stepped in. But he was well known around Liverpool and a very interesting man. Actually, he deserves some time to talk about at some point. And then I have a Mersey beat. Now this one is March 12th to 26, 1964. So this is after the Beatles played there and they were long gone, but the Mersey beat still had things in there about the Cavern Club. You know, this is very fragile now. So they had like, you know, there's Cavern Club, you know, who was going to be there. If you have older ones, you know, 1962 or 3 or whatever, then you would have the Beatles in there, playing in there. But they had some pictures of the Cavern, you know, they still did it. And they had a lot of other stuff in there, so the Cavern Club items are, Mersey beats are pretty cool. Okay, so that's that. Now I have what they call a Cavern membership form. And it's just a piece of paper, an old piece of paper. And that's for the year 1965. And then I have a little card that says, with compliments of the Cavern Club. And I don't know really what this was, whether it was like a free ticket to get in for the night or something. I really don't know. Maybe if there's some English people that know the history of these things better, I would really appreciate your comments on any of these, because these are hard to date. Then I have a Cavern Club little flyer. This is from 1967, though. I'll start at the top. So that's a little later. And then I have an original negative of the Cavern Club, which I don't know if you'll be able to see this at all, but it's actually a bunch of kids listening to music. I think it's upside down, sorry. It should be that way. It's a big old negative. And then I have, I think it's like a little notebook thing, but it's not filled. It's just plastic, cheap plastic. It says Cavern Club on it. And then in the inside, one side is probably for a notebook, and then there's some areas, 2 little spots there for pens or pencils. So I think that's probably what it is some kind of little notebook. And I don't know how old this is either. Like I say, it's hard to date these. I went online looking, but I couldn't find it. And then I have an original Cavern Club picture with kids dancing, And there's actually a photography stamp on the back of it. So that's that. And then the final thing I want to show is a little difficult to show you, but I do have a Cavern Club pennant. Now, I saw one other pennant online. It was actually white with red rather than red with white, which is the one I have. And this one says Home of the Mersey Beat, so it would have been after Bill Harry, who started the Mersey Beat magazine or newspaper. I think he kind of coined the term Mersey Beat, so I think it would have been somewhat after that, or maybe mid-60s. I don't really know, because it's hard to date these things because there's not a lot of information online. So that's what I have in my Cavern Club collection, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time with something else that's kind of interesting. And I wish you all very well. Have a great day, and long live the Beatles.